Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition was in.
Alon! You probably get this question all the time, but how do you deal with 114-degree weather?
Air conditioning, but try to stay in the shade, drink water, wear sunscreen, have hair. I can't do anything about that. So
Yeah.
a lot of sunscreen, Derek. A lot of sunscreen.
That's the key to every bald man going out in the sun. Yeah, dude, when I saw that it was 114 yesterday in Las Vegas, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I thought I'd go through it with the heat here in the East Bay. It was about 80 degrees, like the high 80s, low 90s over the weekend. And I have no air conditioning. I just got this fan that's right next to me. So I am literally sweating balls when I am in my apartment. And right now I got, the blinds folded. I got the AC, or not the AC, but the fan going. And it's still about 82 degrees in here. So I can imagine you going through it at 114.
Yeah, luckily my apartment's pretty cool, but yeah, outside not great, but you do get used to it, Derek. I'll tell you what people like to say. It's a dry heat. It's
that makes it better.
Heat. Yeah.
That's what I heard my entire time in Texas. It's a dry heat, or it's humid, and it just hits you in the face as soon as you get to Texas. And I think I'm actually gonna head to Austin, Texas, next month for Labor Day weekend. I was checking the college football schedule, and I was like, can I afford to, hang out with my friends and not do like a whole college football weekend? Slate's not great. Texas is playing Texas State. Who's Alabama playing? Alon?
I haven't even looked.
Some cupcake team.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't even looked for Labor Day weekend. What day is that, Derek?
It's later this year. It's going to be, I think, September 4th to the 7th is Labor Day weekend. So I took the college football slate. I think the biggest game was like LSU versus Clemson, Lane Kiffin's debut. So I'm not missing anything. I actually might go to an Austin FC versus Quakes game in Austin, Texas. So I'm probably planning on doing that. It's going to be hot as hell there, but it's way cooler than what's going on in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, no. Las Vegas is very hot, not humid, just very hot. And I'm looking at the schedule. East Carolina
is who Alabama has.
Yeah, so the mighty Pirates of ECU. I'll be waking up so early for that.
Yeah, it's not a great slate. There's a few nationally televised games. I guess the big one is, Clemson versus LSU, but lame first week of college football. But we'll talk about it as the season starts in about a month. We got football on the horizon. Just your opinion, man. Alon to say, Derek Papa coming to you on a Monday evening. And we're going to talk some football today. Alon was over at Raiders training camp. But we're going to talk some baseball tonight as the MLB trade deadline came and went this afternoon. The Giants being aggressive sellers. We'll talk about that. Dodgers always making a move. That pisses off the rest of baseball. But what did Rock and Noir have in the chat there? The only hair on Alon's face is eyebrows and eyelashes.
Yeah, I shaved today, so I had
Thanks for stating the obvious there, Rockadoo. Jesus.
Yeah. Rockin', I had to shave today because I had to go do TV, and I'm not going to walk in looking like a homeless man.
So you were looking, you're looking smooth, like you're from the future there.
Yeah.
But usually, Alon, you have the beard going with the hair.
Yeah, a little bit of stubble usually, maybe a little longer. I remember back in the day at 95.7 The Game, I did have it out there for quite a while.
You had a very thick beard, and our guy Rockin' Nuera says, man, you guys switching the days is throwing me off. I know, I apologize. Look, our schedule has been kind of erratic in the offseason here. I'll say this. Once we get to football season, it will be consistent. It was going to be Tuesdays, the reaction shows, and mostly Saturdays for the, preview shows. And we'll talk a lot of college football too, but yeah. I know we kind of thrown everybody off, our audience, with the time we do this podcast. That's a luxury doing a podcast, so you can do whatever you want. But I think we try to do a good job of announcing it beforehand with Twitter notifications, but I get it. We're trying our best to notify you guys ahead of time. I'll tell you this week, there's not a lot of news going on NFL wise. I'm still waiting on, like, the guys like to make fun of me of this time of year. We got Bijan watch, we got Gibbs watch. Nothing new with contracts. So if nothing happens this week, nothing new with Aaron Donald either. Nothing new happens this week. We'll probably just wait till Sunday to do another show. But I want to do a show tonight because along went to Ratings training camp, but I also want to talk about what went down for the MLB trade deadline. And Ernie One in the chat here says, Derek has been waiting for this day to talk Giants trade deadline. Honestly, most fascinating thing about the team right now. It is, it's an all-time bad season. And I know some fans just want to go to the ballpark and have a good time. That's fine. But when you talk about this team every day, it's a little much. Like, I don't know how to stay positive. And honestly, I'm surprised fans do stay positive because just because Buster Posey's around, it's been the same old thing. It's been worse since the Farhan days, honestly. I know all you hate Farhan, but Buster Posey, I know it's kind of a gradual process here, but it's an all-time bad season, and he pivoted big time today. We'll talk about it, but I want to start along with your thoughts with what happened first on Saturday night. Tarik Skubal getting traded to the Dodgers, and this is not a move that is surprising whatsoever. I don't think like fans should have been caught in left field. This came out of left field out of nowhere for like fans to be like, "What the hell? How did this happen?" Jeff Passan was reporting this for the longest time. And the Dodgers usually make these moves. Can you be pissed off the Dodgers made this move? Absolutely. But I don't think you should really be pissed off at them. I think you should be pissed off at every other team in Major League Baseball for not having the balls to go make this move. And we're going to have a big CBA discussion this offseason. Probably the season will be delayed until May. That's what I keep hearing. But it's not because the Dodgers are allowed to make these moves. They're taking advantage of the situation. It's where I guess the three guys that they gave up in the trade are not even their top prospects. So how did nobody else that needed a pitcher at the trade deadline, how did nobody step up to the table and beat what the Dodgers offered? So you could bitch and complain that the Dodgers made these moves. I commend them because they're taking advantage of the situation.
I agree. I mean, you can be really mad that they're the ones who keep coming out on top, especially if you're a Giants fan, but anybody else could have made this move. I mean, Skubal's contract only owed $9 million. So it's not like any other team was financially strapped where they couldn't do this. And the trade package they got was not great. So I don't understand. Look, I understand the rage that the Dodgers keep coming out on top. They keep winning. They're building up a war chest every single year, and they're spending money like nobody's business. But the fact that they pulled it off, I mean, yeah, this is all other 29 teams. Like, or 28 teams because the Tigers were involved. How'd you let this happen? You could have made a move for him. So I don't think there's much about that. But the other thing is everybody's saying, oh, it's a conspiracy. All the other 28 teams called Detroit and said, make this move so we can make our case that, teams like the Dodgers shouldn't be allowed to spend so much money because we need restrictions. I don't buy any of that either. That didn't happen. Look, the other teams just, for whatever reason, did not offer anything for Terrence Skubal.
It's just surprising. And let me know. I know people in the chat are saying my internet's breaking up. Just cut me off a lot if things are getting kind of weird with me, finicky. But yeah, I get it. The Dodgers get away with murder when it comes to getting every big name in baseball. The Yankees did that once upon a time. It was a foregone conclusion when there was a big name in free agency. Jason Giambi, my favorite player growing up. We all knew going into that offseason he was going to sign with the Yankees. It's just inevitable, and it sucks. Especially when they get like Kyle Tucker, and it's a luxury for them. But they're going for it. And the Mets go for it, the Yankees go for it, but the Dodgers go for it at a rapid rate. And believe me, I get Giants fans' frustrations because it's a similar deal, but, in a way close to what the 49ers are going through with the Rams. But then again, I think they're on an even playing field just because it's football. Injuries happen. With the Dodgers, they are just so far out in front of the Giants. And I thought things were going to change when Buster Posey took over as president of baseball operations in that introduction press conference. He said that he wants to be in the memory making business and wants to compete with the Dodgers and is tired of seeing them win World Series. But yet, I mean, the Rafael Devers move kind of signals to that mentality. But really, today actually shows you have to pivot when you are 16 games below 500. Everything they planned on just didn't pan out. All the big moves, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, and then trying to get by without a bullpen, it blew up in their face. So I think that some Giants fans are just accepting of where they're at, and the Dodgers are the Dodgers. But this leads to a bigger conversation of what the offseason is going to look like. And can MLB and the players come to an agreement on a CBA or, even a salary cap? And I think a lot of big time players that make a shit ton of money like Bryce Harper are going to be totally against that. So it's probably going to lead to a lockout, and that's unfortunate. But I really don't think it's anything that the Dodgers are doing. Yes, you can be angry that they are aggressive and they're allowed to do this, but it really is most of the owners not willing to open up their pocketbooks, and GM's not getting creative. When they hear what the Dodgers are offering, it's like, we can't beat that. And also, I'm kind of curious, why did the Tigers pull the trigger on this Saturday night? It's this offer could have been there today. So it happened Saturday night simultaneously with the Giants getting walked out by the Padres. So the timing was terrible for Giants fans. And also the Dodgers were getting swept by the Red Sox. So it's just ridiculous that they're able to get away with this. But at the same time, I don't blame them for getting away with it.
No, you can't blame them. You can be frustrated that it happened, but we're saying the same thing. You cannot blame them. And as far as a salary cap goes, talking about this earlier today, on the sports program here in Las Vegas, and I went, the players are just not going to go for that. They're not. And even if you're a low earning player, you're not going to go for it because it caps your potential. That's the thing. And it'll take jobs away. That's what it'll do. I mean, it'll make everything that much more stringent for these teams to spend money. I think if there was one thing, if Major League Baseball did want to adopt a salary cap of some sort, it would probably have to look like the NBA, something with supermax deals and aprons and complicated luxury taxes, things like that. I don't really want to see that. I don't think there's a problem with baseball being an uncapped sport. And people might say it's, competitively not equal. Well, that's okay. And yes, the Dodgers are making a laughing stock of everything right now, but that's their prerogative. If you're mad about it, tell your owner to spend more money. The other thing is we have a lot of owners who don't spend money in this sport. And I don't get it because it's an uncapped sport. It's almost a foregone conclusion that to win at a high level consistently in the sport, you do need to spend money. The last thing I'll say about this, I think the easiest fix, and the league won't do this because the owners will not do it, if they got rid of revenue sharing completely, then we would only see owners in it to win it and really spend money because they wouldn't be able to sit back, rest on their laurels, and collect a paycheck basically going, well, look how profitable my team is. So back to what the Dodgers have done, you can't blame them. You can be mad at them. But, man, if we just look at what their potential pitching rotation could be during the postseason, it's insane. 2 Cy Young winners, multiple All-Stars, a guy who could come back and pitch, Snell and Glasnow both on the IL, but, pushing to come back. And then you got Robowski, who's no one even talks about him, and he's an All-Star too.
Yeah, it's insane the galaxy of stars they have when it comes to their rotation, and obviously the galaxy of stars they have in their lineup. But, yeah, to add Tarik Skubal, he's the defending 2-time AL Cy Young winner. Like, that's insane. And where's he even in your rotation right now? Like 5th?
Yeah. Where is he? Is he ahead of Yamamoto, behind Yamamoto? Is he, when everybody's healthy, where does he go? Look, they have an embarrassment of riches.
And as you said, Alon, they don't even need Ohtani right now, but they probably will get it back at some point to pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't need him. And that's what a luxury that is. They could just have him shut down on pitching for the rest of the year and just go, hey, you could just hit, man. We don't want to risk you getting hurt on the mound or risk you pitching next season by having to force you to pitch this year. So, I mean, they don't really have any flaws, any holes. I still don't know why the Tigers decided to deal Tarik Skubal to them. I have to believe that if that's really the best offer, then the Tigers didn't do a good job of going around saying, does anybody want Tarik Skubal?
Yeah, it might have been inevitable that he was going to sign with them in the offseason, so I guess they were just ahead of the curve there. But also, I don't know, you could have done your due diligence. You could have done you don't have to like talk to one team and one team only. I'm sure they did. And I'm sure this was the best offer. But that's insane. That is insane for the 2-time defending Cy Young Award winner in the American League to be dealt for 3 prospects that I'm not going to act like I know prospects. Like all these guys that were attached to trades today, I'm not going to act like I know who they are or what they're going to become. It's all a big hypothetical when it comes to baseball. But the fact that they traded 3 no-name guys and not even their top prospects, that makes me wonder, like, did the league just cave? Like, did they just give up knowing, like, well, we might as well send him to the Dodgers because, I mean, in the end, he's going to go to the Dodgers. But then, like, why would you care about that? So, I don't know. I'm not mad that the Dodgers came away with Tarik Skubal. I'm just mad the way that baseball kind of, or all the other owners just kind of were cowardly about it. Weren't as aggressive. Weren't really going for it. Now, there were other moves that were aggressive. And I'll get to all the Giants moves, but real quick, Alon, just you knowing baseball better than me, is there anybody in particular that sticks out as far as the trade deadline, like Freddie Peralta, or he went up to the Rays?
Yeah, Freddie went to the Rays. I'm gonna pull up the grand list here, but
you have Kevin Gausman. Where'd he go?
Kevin Gausman leaves Toronto. Yeah, Derek, your internet is struggling, but yeah, Kevin Gausman went to the Cubs. So I mean, that's a guy who is on a really rockin' says Joey Bart. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I wasn't surprised by the Skubal move. Just surprised that it happened the way it did. As far as some of the other ones, I do think the Kevin Gausman one is significant. I think that's really interesting. I think it's fascinating that the Giants did get rid of Arraez, and not because the way the season has been going, but man, Luis is a really good player, and they must really think they can't build anything in their current condition, because you would only get rid of him if you absolutely knew that you had to press the reset button, which is what they're doing.
You got me at full capacity now, Alon?
I do.
Okay, cool. Okay, Luis Arraez. So let's get to the Giants moves. There was a minor one last night. Tyler Mahle got dealt for a reliever last night, and not that big of a move. Tyler Mahle was honestly like insignificant when it comes to the Giants season. There was one good performance against the Dodgers, but that's a guy you just trade away because he wasn't a good pitcher for you. With Luis Arraez, that was not surprising whatsoever, because coming into the year, he was a huge question mark with Giants fans, and actually was a polarizing move because people didn't like his defense. He doesn't hit for power. I was surprised the Giants were able to come away with him that late in free agency, but 1 year, $12 million, and he was great. He was receptive to all the coaching from Ron Washington, and now he's completely changed the narrative of how he is defensively and as a second baseman. So right now he's got he's got the best average in the National League right now, or maybe in all of baseball. But yeah, he was a great player for the Giants, an all-star, and it's unfortunate they have to deal him. But it makes sense for Luis Arraez to not commit long-term with a team. It's better not to sign a 2-year deal and get a 1-year deal with the Giants, because then he could cash in on this season and prove that he's a pretty good second baseman. So that was beneficial for Luis Arraez. And then I heard it all the time from Giants fans after a day game, and he had a good performance. And everybody would call in. Not everybody, but a good deal of fans, I would say older fans, that have the mentality of, how the fuck are you going to trade away Luis Arraez? He's one of the best players on the team. I show up with my kid. He inspires him to be a great baseball player. You're sending a bad message to everybody else in that clubhouse. You should trade away the bad guys on the team. Well, yeah, no shit. But teams want the good players, and it's an expiring contract. And also, I can't stand it when people just say, well, give him a contract. Why the hell would Luis Arraez sign a contract right now? It makes no sense for him. It's bad business for him to have a season that rejuvenates his career, and he wants to cash in right now. No, wait till the offseason. Wait till your season's over. Then you're going to have a ton of teams come after you, not just do business with the Giants. And it very well could be where once the season ends, he feels good about the relationship he had with Ron Washington and wants to sign long-term with them. That is possible. But no, the Giants, guys, they're terrible. They're a terrible team. So Buster Posey had to capitalize on an expiring contract. And, I hear the old school guys Giants fans always follow what Will Clark says, and I totally get that. I respect Will Clark, but his take on Eric Burns' podcast was they better not trade away Luis Arraez. And that's the baseball mentality of it, but the business mentality of it is you have to trade him away. And trading him to the Philadelphia Phillies, I mean, it's better than trading him inside your own division like what happened with Robbie Ray today. But why does it matter? Why? You're out of it. You're irrelevant, honestly, when it comes to baseball right now. That's the truth. Like some of these guys that are playing for the Giants right now, this lineup's ridiculous tonight. But as far as what's going to happen down the road, it could set them up for success. But we won't know that. I have no idea what to make of these prospects. But does it matter for the here and now if the Phillies got better? Does it matter for the here and now that the Padres got better with Robbie Ray? No. So I don't blame Buster Posey for pulling the trigger on this move whatsoever. Yes, Luis Arraez might have been the best move he ever made. But also, their team is bad. The team is bad. So he had to trade Luis Arraez. No doubt about it.
No, they had to do it. That's just how bad the team has been, like you said. I mean, they're not even at the 50-win mark, so it's really tough for them. But Elio Ramos, that was interesting too. That's a tough one. I think, yeah, Robbie Ray. I mean, look, you could be like the Baltimore Orioles and send Adley Rutschman inside your own division. Like, at least you didn't do that. I mean, so that feels good. You don't have to see Luis Arraez all the time in your own division. But yeah, the Giants, look, grand 5-year plan. That's what's going to happen here. They need a grand 5-year plan because that's probably what it's going to take. They have to, which they started today. They're going to have to restock their farm system. They're going to have to develop more prospects. They're going to have to commit, I would think, to Tony, but who knows what's going to happen there with how bad the season has gone. I don't know if it's all his fault, but it just is the way it is. And then they're going to have to hope that they hit on draft picks and that they just develop talent because, look, there was a comment earlier. Rockin' New Era said, Giants can spend like the Dodgers but choose not to. Yeah. I'd say that's half true. They do try to spend. They just aren't able to get the big free agents to come. They're always left at the altar, right? They're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And that will change when they get more talented. But right now they're not talented. So do you want to throw money down a bottomless pit? Which is what doing that would be. If you go out and try to overpay for players left and right, yeah, maybe you get competitive or somewhat competitive quickly, but that's not sustainable. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks. I'm glad I'm not a Giants fan. I'm an A's fan, so I got other problems to deal with. They're not good. I mean, they started out great, and it's been a dumpster fire the last month and a half. Injuries part of it, but also can't win at home. But the Giants need a full rebuild. That's all it is. And I hope the same credit that was given to Buster Posey, all the belief and everything that was given to him when he came in to take over, I hope the Giants fans give him the grace to see this out because I don't want to see that fandom, that group of fans, that community turn on the team because I think the team is trying. But what they did this year did not work. You can't say they didn't try. They did try to put pieces together. It just hasn't panned out.
Let me just say that Giants fans would be very understanding of Buster Posey had he gone about things the right way. And I think there's a lot of things, obviously the media scrum that happened with him talking about Pride Night and that whole fiasco, that's not relevant to baseball. So I get like when you are in that position, you don't answer questions sometimes, then it's a bad look. But for Buster Posey, it's not even that. It's his unwillingness to talk about not going forward with the bullpen. Like, I thought Brian Murphy was more than fair in an interview with Buster Posey on KMBR. And Buster Posey came across looking very defensive, saying, well, who do you want me to trade for then, Murph? Or who do you want me to sign? And with Diaz, like, it was bad. It was a bad interview. And there's been a lot of fallout since that. I don't even want to go into it. But with Buster Posey, I mean, Rockin' New Era asks here in the chat, will Buster even be around in 2028? And I think so. I think that he will if he wants to be here. I think he's going to get a big leash, unlike anything that Farhan ever got, because he's Buster Posey. And I think that's part of the equation of why they're not doing a good job right now, is because when Buster took the job, he wanted to win right away. That's why he went out and before even he got the job, he was working with Matt Chapman to get that deal done. He went and got a shortstop in Willie Adames, and I don't blame them for going out and getting him. But since that time, it's looked bad. But they needed a shortstop. And then pulling the trigger on Rafael Devers. It was a big-time move. And at the time, they were tied for first place going into that weekend playing the Dodgers. They beat them on Friday night, lost to them on Saturday, and then the game didn't even matter on Sunday Night Baseball when they got Rafael Devers. And he goes on the radio the next week saying it's time to go. And then the Giants started to lose big time. Post All-Star break, they had a terrible record. And yeah, they were back into it, but at the end, they were trying to fight for the wild card, but they really weren't in it. So then the offseason happens. And the big moves are Luis Arraez and Harrison Bader, and run it back with the bullpen and wait for Randy Rodriguez to come back. And everybody that knew baseball that we talked to, even, talking to Adam Copeland, I was like, are they going to win with this bullpen? And he's like, no, I don't see how they're going to. Buster knows what a good bullpen looks like. Honestly, I think it's where they hired Tony Vitello, and Buster used last year as an evaluation season. He knew when he had to buy at a great opportunity in Rafael Devers where the Red Sox are moving on from him. And he knew when he had to sell when he's got expiring contracts in the bullpen with Tyler Rogers, and he was just not a Camilo Duvall guy. So he knew when to pivot. I think this offseason he wanted to play both sides of it, kind of do like a competitive rebuild in a way where it's like, I'm loading up on offense, but if the season goes bad, I know I could pull the plug on this thing, and Tony Vitello can really take over as the manager of this team, where it's not really so much veteran-driven. It's going to be a lot of young guys, and that's why I brought Tony in, because he can lead in college. It's going to be a lot of college players. So when it was clear the bullpen was a disaster and the offense was going to score a lot of runs, that's when things looked bad for Buster Posey, and he didn't know how to respond to a lot of these questions. And I think fans turned on him because he wasn't being honest about the team, and there really wasn't a direction. Now there is today. There is a direction today where it's still a mix of the guys that make a lot of money on this team, the Rafael Devers, the Willie Adameses, the Matt Chapmans, the Jung-Hoo Lees, and it's the guys for the future. It's, Bryce Eldridge, Casey Schmidt, and we'll see who's going to be in the outfield for them. But yeah, they're trying to build this thing the old-fashioned way, like Brian Sabian did in Buster Posey's playing days with pitching. But I get the criticism when it comes to Buster Posey. I just don't want it to be where in a couple weeks the Giants are going to put some players into the Ring of Honor or the Wall of Fame, and a lot of players from those championship days are going to be there, including with Buster Posey. Are fans going to boo Posey for what's going on right now? Probably, and I don't think that's fair. I think you could separate the athlete to the general manager. Like, I love Chris Mullin as a player, good dude, terrible GM with the Warriors. You could separate the two. There's a time to boo somebody for what their job was, and if the day is dedicated to what he did as a player, then it's just fair to recognize him as a player. But it just wasn't a clear direction. So now, I think today, with all the moves they made, and I could go through it right now, Luis Arraez and Caleb Killian get traded to the Philadelphia Phillies. Hold on, I had it real quick. Robbie Ray going to the San Diego Padres, Elliot Ramos going to the New York Yankees, and Eric Miller going to the Red Sox. And also Tyler Mahle getting traded to the Atlanta Braves. So altogether, it was 6 players that Buster Posey traded. And I commend him for pivoting. He needed to. If it was just the easy moves of trading away the expiring contracts, then, yeah, necessary moves, but he could have done more. And, we'll see about Logan Webb. We'll see about all these guys. Like, Buster Posey was honest today when he talked to the media saying, we told teams everybody's available. Does that mean Logan Webb? Because in the last few weeks, he's said, I'm not trading Logan Webb. But maybe behind closed doors, he was telling teams, make it worth my while. So that could be a conversation we see when he's got two more years on his contract. That could be a conversation we see this offseason. The same thing with Jung-Hoo Lee, where you can opt out of next year's contract. There could be more moves on the horizon. But today, to move on from Elliot Ramos, a young player, a promising player that had an all-star season, I give him props for that, because that's not an easy move to make. He's got a ton of potential. He's a liability in left field. We saw that last year. But he's a home run hitter. And he kind of falls off in the second halves of seasons. But He got to, I never know like a good return when it comes to baseball because they're prospects. But he got 2 names, and one of them is Jeff Kent's son coming in return for Elliot Ramos. So yeah, Buster Posey had to make the hard moves today to tell the fan base this team is not good enough. And I'm happy he did because they're not good enough. It's not just this season. It's been years. They've been mediocre since 2021. So I think the Giants organization thought they could get away with subpar play. But hey, Buster Posey's around. So he'll take all the criticism, he'll take the heat, but fans won't give him a ton of shit because it's Buster. And they were sorely mistaken. Fans are upset.
Yeah, fans are upset. I hope he does not get booed if they, if he is one of those guys who's going to get inducted to the Ring of Honor. I mean, he is a big part of why they have 3 championships. So I would not like to see that happen. As far as who they got back in the trades, and I'm with you, Derek, I have not watched a whole lot of minor league baseball this year outside of here in Las Vegas, the AAA team. But
more than fair.
Yeah, they did get Ramon Marquez, who's the Phillies. He's a right-handed pitcher, Phillies number 4 prospect. Miguel Mendez, right-handed pitcher, Padres, their number 4 prospect. And then Henry LaLane, left-handed pitcher from the Yankees, their number 5 prospect. So, look, if you do put confidence into prospect rankings from Baseball America, whoever does these, then yeah, they got some good stuff back in a lost season. There's something else I will say, and it's not often talked about in sports, but it is talked about in international relations, especially military and foreign policy. Look, I think Buster Posey is very good on the blitzkrieg, right? He did a great job last year of loading that team up, trying to get there. It didn't work, but he did a very good job in being aggressive. I think at the start of this year, he did something which was very limited. Like you said, he tried to have his cake and eat it too. He tried to do a competitive rebuild. We'll call that limited aim strategy, right? So he says, we can compete with what we have, and I'm not going to do a whole bunch because I think I can get just over the hump here with what I have. Well, what happened? It blew up in their face. They're stuck in, basically, in sports terms, I'll just put it in sports, a war of attrition. They're stuck being a bottom feeder right now because of it. So what's Buster do? He goes out and be super aggressive again with a blitzkrieg strategy to trade everything valuable that he has away. And it's the right move. The question is, after this, and with what they get back, will he continue to be aggressive? Because I think that's what the Giants need to do in everything that they do. They should continue to be aggressive. They should not try to use these limited, aim strategies of, let's be competitive while we rebuild. No, one or the other. You do not want to get stuck in the middle. That's such a bad move, and it keeps you in basically non-competitive baseball for perpetuity if that's what you do. Who does that work out for? Competitive rebuilds. They just don't work.
Depends. Like the Niners last year. In football, it happens way more. I can't say in baseball. But yeah, and I think that some fan reaction today was, they didn't do anything significant as far as the big-time contracts. To get off those, that was going to be hard to do, man. Like, no one's taking Willie Adames' salary. Like, and he has a no-trade clause. Same thing with Matt Chapman. You have no idea when the hell he's coming back right now. Like, that injury with his abdominal strain, that's been going on since the end of June. So that was going to be hard to move him. If anybody was going to be Matt Chapman that they would trade as far as the big-time contracts, it's just he's not healthy. He was playing better, but also the Giants probably have to take on some of the salary too. And they were really willing to do that with Robbie Ray today. Rafael Devers is going to stick around. That we can complain about, their record since acquiring him. He's probably still to get 30 home runs this year. So, and that was a big time move for Buster Posey, and he's not going back on that. So he's going to stick around. Willie Adames, I think they would like to trade. But then again, he makes way too much money. And I'll say this too. There's a lot of things going on with him, this year with not remembering how many outs there were in a game against the Dodgers. This past, a couple weeks ago, where his foot wasn't on the bag at second base. And just what happened on Friday night. They're playing the Padres on Apple TV. There was a report that him and Ron Washington are not really kind of meshing well together. He's not really receptive to the coaching, coming out there early, getting some infield practice. And I know Susan Slusser had a report prior to the report that was on Apple TV saying that Willie Adames would like to be out there, but his back is kind of hurting him, so he's not really putting a lot of time in there just because of the injury. I've heard differing things. I'm not going to act like I'm really tapped into what goes on behind the scenes with the Giants, but I have heard that Ron Washington and Willie Adames have not really seen eye to eye. So that could be something. I know that Tony Vitello came out and said that report's bullshit. There might be more truth to that than you think. So I think that if they could, they would trade Willie Adames, but no takers on that. So there's more moves to be had. I believe in the offseason. And I know some fans are going to be like, well, this doesn't do anything for us next year. It's not about next year. It's about the long haul for the Giants. And when they can finally get a team together, they feel comfortable calling up all these prospects and finally putting a team they feel comfortable about with Tony Vitello. And he's going to get a long leash too. As long as Buster's around, you best believe Tony Vitello is going to be the manager. I am shocked that they've had this bad season, and I don't really even think it's Tony's fault. I think it's where he took this job because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but really it's where you're not going to be successful. It's like most coaches that don't have a lot of experience at the professional level. Like we see it in basketball, we see it in football, and they get their first time doing it, and it's not going to be a great season off the rip. And then they have to develop as a manager or a coach and develop the team as well. That's where Tony's expertise are really going to show, because he's a guy that can find talent at the college level and build confidence up. And it's hard to connect with veterans. So in time, this may be a really young team that Tony has his fingerprints all over. So yeah, I think that Giants fans should feel confident about where this team is going, because they think they finally have a direction with more moves to come. But it's not going to be the immediate future. So strap in. We'll see where it goes. But the old slogan of Giants baseball, nothing like it, it could be the same thing we've seen for quite some time in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take 3 years for sure. And that's optimistic that in year 3 from now that they are good, right?
Yeah.
It's probably going to take 4 or 5 years. And that's okay. I mean, you'd rather have it take 4 or 5 years than do this cycle of what they've been going through for the last basically 4 or 5 years. So you don't want that. And I agree. I think Tony Vitello is safe. Something, I mean, he'd have to have another season like this back to back to really get that fire going under him. But I don't anticipate that happening because they've been so bad this year. I mean, it would be otherworldly to be that bad 2 years in a row, even with the pieces that they've traded away. So we'll see what happens. I think that they do have a direction. We'll see if that direction is the correct direction, but at least they're all rowing the same way. On the Willie Adames stuff, if the stuff between him and Wash is true, that's insanity to me. And I know we've talked about this, Derek, and off air as well. Ron Washington's so respected by like everybody he's ever coached.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hearing that is very jarring because Willie Adames has been a good player in this league, and Ron Washington has been a phenomenal position coach and a decent manager as well. Didn't win a World Series, but got there. And yeah, that's just hard to believe for me because he's been so good as a position and a defensive coach.
Yeah, who knows? I get a lot of information when it comes to these teams that we cover. Take it with a grain of salt, but someone else said something that I heard about Willie Adames. Now, it really could be that his back is really bothering him and he just can't participate in pregame, I guess warm-ups when it comes to practicing in the infield. But I don't know. Fans have turned on Willie Adames. Fans have turned on a lot of guys on this team. We'll just see where it goes. But yeah, I think that this is the first time in a while that the Giants showed a direction. As far as the A's, Alon, I'm used to the A's making moves at the deadline, and that's usually like, selling off good players when they're having a good season, which pisses you off. But I didn't see anything today. Did the A's make any moves?
No, not one that's they DFA'd a few guys. I mean, that's literally about it. No.
Wow. I mean, that's been their MO for years. Okay, then. So, yeah, a little surprising there, I guess. As far as just like selling off pieces, I mean, who's running away with the AL West right now? Nobody, right?
I believe the AL West is
The
currently
Mariners are not having a
Ast-
fantastic
the,
season.
the Astros have really had a last good basically month and a half. They've been ascending. Texas is below 500, but within striking distance, and then the Mariners are in that same boat. You have the A's and the Angels who are the bringing up the rear there in the AL West. But yeah.
That's usually the case. And yeah, the A's are in free fall right now. So I'm surprised they actually didn't sell anybody. Well, they have a young team. So maybe they're just trying to get through the growing pains right now. But yeah, a little surprising there. Anything else, Alon? Sorry,
I was going to say they spent a lot of money this past offseason trying to build something that couldn't just be competitive for now, but really when they get here. And so a lot of that talent is young, like Nick Kurtz, guys like that. I mean, even Zach Geloff there, Jacob Wilson. But it's been tough for them. I mean, when Brent Rooker went on the IL, that really hurt them out for the season, right? Zach Geloff has been on the IL, in and out. Mark Leiter Jr. I mean, it's been tough, really tough the last about two to 2.5 months, and the play has just fallen off about the last 45 games they played. Their biggest issue, though, is they just can't win at home, and they were better on the road earlier in the season, and now that's falling off too. So it's a lost season in a lot of ways. I mean, and we always thought it would be. I mean, I remember back on our baseball episode, I picked wrongly that the Giants would be contending for a wild card spot. That's a big L for me. But I did say Houston would win the AL West, and they look like they have a potential to do that. But yeah, the A's are in free fall right now. It's, I guess, lucky for Bay Area sports fans that both the A's and the Giants can't stink up the Bay together.
Yeah. Just real quick, the moves that the Giants made as far as what those players will do now. I think Luis Arraez going to the Phillies is big time because Bryce Harper made very very public comments about wanting things to change and needing help, and pairing that guy up, Luis Arraez, who's going for a batting title right now in the NL, with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. That's a big time move.
Mm-hmm.
Big time move. And I guess they're going to move Bryce Harper into the outfield, I guess the rumor is, and Luis Arraez would play second base there. And then Robbie Ray going to the Padres. I know some fans' reaction was, trading him inside the division, you're not going to see the Padres. I mean, you are just one more time, but do you care? The season's over, basically. So I know he goes to a division rival. We'll see if he signs there, but you got the Padres prospects in return. And now, yeah, you may see Robbie Ray again, but who really cares? And that's a big-time move for the Padres, too, that are trying to go for it. They probably won't compete with the Dodgers. Those teams never do, the Diamondbacks or Padres or anybody really in Major League Baseball. But I'm happy that those two guys who really changed the narratives on their careers, I guess, were more comeback stories for the Giants. Robbie Ray coming back from Tommy John, Farhan making that move, and then Luis Arraez changing the narrative of himself defensively. So good on them finding good landing spots. All right, Alon, I want to transition to some football because you were out and about in Henderson. That's where the practice facility still is, right?
Yes, it's behind the HQ. They have massive fields, and then they have their big indoor facility as well.
Have you been inside the facility?
Yes.
And I'm assuming it's an upgrade over the one in Alameda.
Alameda was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
That's a great way to say it.
It was a family feel, I guess. But no, the Henderson HQ is just, it's top notch. It rivals a lot of colleges, which is crazy because NFL facilities are notorious for not even being college has the best facilities when it comes to football. So, I mean, it's just top notch.
And Ernie One asked, do they have a substation there? Probably not.
No, but there is a bakery across the street.
Oh, delicious bakery?
Yeah, good bread. So, I mean, a big, kind of massive bakery that supplies, bread to the restaurants and stuff in Las Vegas, but in Henderson. But you can smell the bread wafting sometimes.
Ooh, the bread.
Which might be distracting for those players. I mean, bread kind of makes me sleepy.
That could be the case. I also would say that the Alameda facility, great restaurants. When we used to go there all the time, whether we're doing a show with Chris Townsend, my dad, or Bonte Hill, I love that area. God, I love that area. But this facility wasn't fantastic. That's all I knew growing up. All right, Alon. So you went to training camp yesterday, and they were practicing at the butt crack of dawn, 7 a.m., and that's unheard of for football practice in the NFL. But when it's 114 degrees outside, it makes sense. So your biggest takeaways from watching Raiders training camp?
Yeah, I went yesterday and today. Stayed
nice.
Yeah, stayed much longer today. Well, stayed for the whole thing and then even after today. But yesterday was mostly special teams and different. Today was good, though, because it was a padded practice. And real quick, Rockin', because I don't want to forget about you, we get in football talk. We're going to talk American football, but I will tell you that Pochettino signed through 2030. So, hey, there's something there for United States Soccer Federation. But to the Raiders, it was a full padded practice. My biggest takeaways were the DBs looked much improved. I mean, so much better than they did a year ago, so much better than they have for multiple years. Hezekiah Massis, their draft pick out of Cal, he has looked really good during training camp, and he looked great today. Eric Stokes is good too. I mean, there were times where Kirk Cousins just looked him off and didn't want to pass in his direction just because he's proven to be pretty solid. Max Crosby, it was nice, got to be really close, maybe about 10 feet away while he was going through his individual stuff or unit stuff with the D-line coach, and he was working with Kwity Paye, which was really good, and Max looks as happy as I've ever seen him, so he's fully bought in, which was good to see, and he looks really healthy. And Kwity Paye looks like he is trying to soak up everything he can. What else did I notice today? I noticed that Kirk Cousins is very comfortable in this offense. Go figure. He knows the offense like the back of his hand.
Yeah.
But he is confident, and he's making the right reads, even in an 11 on 11, looking really good, making the right throws. Already has a stellar connection with Brock Bowers. Bowers is uncoverable. And if there is someone in the league who can cover him, I don't know who it is. There's no one in the Raiders building that can cover him. So that's something to look forward to for Raiders fans. Mike Washington looked good. Ashton Genty had a big 60-yard gain on a screen pass. That's not great for the defense, but great for him. And then Fernando Mendoza, the guy that everybody wants to talk about. Mendoza battled today. He had some rough moments, especially early, but then there was a play that could have been absolutely horrible that he kind of turned around, and then you could tell he was fighting and getting better with every rep after that. And the play was this. It was the backup center, and they were going against the ones defense, and it was a low snap out of the gun. And Fernando almost kind of stumbles, but is able to pick it up, roll slightly back and then to the right, and then was able to hit like a little 11-yard route and make something out of nothing. And it's like something happened right after that. I don't know what it was, but he all of a sudden, and he's always pretty motivated and pretty high up. I mean, he's a guy who's like doing high jumps right before he goes out there. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's like a switch flipped, and all of a sudden you could tell that it settled him down, and he started making more throws, which was good. He still had some bad throws, of course, and some underthrows here and there. And the timing is still a little off, but he looks good in the quick slant game, and that play just kind of turned everything around for him today. So I would say he's growing and getting better. He's not there yet, but it is promising. And the other thing I will say, Malik Benson has been a standout as well. He's very, very pleasant surprise out of Oregon because he's a smaller guy, more slight of stature, but he has been able to weave his way through, and in the slant game or any of the drag stuff, and then even in some of the deep stuff, he's looked good. Jack Besh has looked okay. We'll see what he's going to do. Dante Thornton hasn't flashed the way he did last year in training camp, so that's concerning, but the team is much improved, and of course they would be after having a nightmarish season last year, a team that I would say last year was, believe it or not, on par with the 2007 team that won 2 games. And I don't know which one was worse. At least the 2007 team had a stellar defense. This team last year had nothing. And yes, they had one more win, but it was awful. So yeah, those were my takeaways. It looked good. Clint Kubiak's a different type of cat. I mean, we all kind of knew that. He reminds me a lot of Kyle Shanahan, and that's not surprising.
No, not at all. And there's a lot of similarities, obviously being the son of a former NFL or Super Bowl winning coach. And I'll get to a quote that he had today. I sent it to you in the DMs right now, Alon. I want to play that clip, but it's a good breakdown. You got everybody I was interested in. Just real quick, the defense. How did Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker look out there?
Phenomenal. This is the first time the Raiders have had linebackers since, I don't know,
Kirk Morrison and
law firm. Yeah.
Thomas Howard.
Morrison and Howard. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I mean, the last time they even had decent linebacker play was really just from one guy, and that was Robert Spillane.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that they've had at least two good linebackers. And yeah, you'd have to go back to Howard and Morrison, and rest in peace, Thomas Howard.
Of course.
But yeah, that's how far you'd have to go back. So they look good. They're big. It's Nakobe Dean he's not just, he's a tall enough guy, but he's like, I don't know what, he's thick, man. He's thick. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He's a big man. So
with 2 C's.
Yeah, exactly. Thick with 2 C's. He really is. But he can move. So they're very impressed by him. They look good at the linebacker position, and Eichenberg has looked good as well.
Nice. And I'm assuming no limitations with Max Crosby. Obviously a big to-do with him failing his physical with the trade, but no limitations for Max Crosby out there?
No, he looked great in individual, and then on the team, he was every rep that the first team defense was on, basically, he was out there. There was maybe 1 or 2 reps where he wasn't out there, and that was, I thought, more of them wanting to get Malcolm Kuntz out there to see what that looked like, so he was back. And then there was even one where they had, I want to say it was Kieron Crawford maybe out there along with Kwity Paye. So maybe that was more situational run kind of stuff like that, and maybe just Max wanted to blow there. But the other thing I noticed real quick before we get to the Kubiak tape here is that the defensive line could have a rotation on the interior, and Tonka Hemingway is definitely fighting for one of those spots. He finished the season last year very strong, and he's not the biggest guy, but he continues to have good output, not just in practice, but at the end of last year during real games. So we'll see what he's able to do out of South Carolina last year.
Yeah, I guess I'm not thrilled to hear about the wide receiving core right now. Like, obviously, Brock Bowers is going to be their main guy, and you want Ashton Genty to run better than he did last year. But I think the offensive line is much improved. It sounds like on paper what you're seeing in practice. Wide receiver, I don't know if they really upgraded. Trey Tucker, I don't want him to be the number one guy. Jack Besh didn't show a lot last year. Dante Thornton at times flashed. So maybe that's a position you add before the season starts. Kayshon Boutte is still a name that I'm hearing kind of linked to the Raiders as he might be a final 52 casualty when it comes to the Patriots. He could be available there, but final 53, I should say. But I'm still not very confident in the wide receiving core for the Raiders. It sounds like from what you just say right there and what they got on the roster.
Yeah, that's their biggest question mark is their wide receiving core. I would say the second biggest question mark, not because of Kubiak, because he's shown that he can get good play out of subpar offensive lines, but it is the offensive line as well. It not only has to be upgraded this year with their performance, but it has to be so much better than leading the 30th ranked rushing attack. So I would say those are their 2 biggest concerns. Kirk Cousins, I thought he would be a question mark going into the season. And I'm not saying he looks like Cousins from 5 years ago, but he looks like a better version of the Cousins that played in Atlanta at the end of the year. So
yeah,
he looks good. He's running around. I mean, he doesn't look limited at all. And I know he's an older man, but relatively speaking for athletes, but he looks good. So I think the question marks are wide receiver. I think the question mark is offensive line. And I think the other question mark is probably the defensive backfield, not because I don't think it's improved. I mean, I raved about how much better they look, but I want to see them actually put it together. Right now, the only known commodity is really Eric Stokes. So those are probably the 3 question mark areas.
I want to play the sound of Clint Kubiak, and I think this kind of shows the personality he's going to have, where not the most lively guy, really didn't have a lot of energy when it came to that introductory press conference, but he's very Kyle Shanahan in a way where he's low key and he lets his offense do the talking. But this reminded me of Kyle Shanahan today, the way that he explained that the roster is full of good guys.
I think we just have a professional group of players. They care about getting better. We don't have any turds. We got guys that want to be here, that want to win, that want to change this place. And so I'm really happy with that. I think we just have a professional group of players.
No turds on this team. And my guy, Stephen Langford, texted me being like, the head coach said no turds. Like, that's going to be the new slogan, not commitment to excellence, but no turds on this team. And you know what? That's just like, that's football guy talk. I think that's like Texas talk too. That's where Clint Kubiak's from. So I mean, I think it's funny. I think you're going to see him kind of say stuff like that. But yeah, I like that. I kind of like his no turds policy in the locker room there.
So, I mean, think about this. Since they got to Vegas, right? Since Gruden, they've had 3 raw kind of coaches, and then one former wonderkin in Josh McDaniels, who just can't get it done as a head coach for whatever reason.
Yeah.
This is the first time that you have a guy who, I'm not saying the other guys don't think, they clearly do, they're head coaches, but he's obviously pensive in the way that he approaches things with the media.
Mm-hmm.
He conducts himself. There's a confidence there, which is great. And he's a whiz when it comes to football, offensive football, especially. We've seen what he does. His track record speaks for itself, but he has a way of motivating players without having to be psycho John Gruden or Pete Carroll, who's like, come on, guys. Hey, come on. I make him sound more like Joe Biden, I guess. But I mean, that's
similarities.
That's kind of where it was. And he's not Antonio Pierce, who's like, all right, mother effers. Like, we're going to, I was rolling in the Coliseum, like he's not that either. And he's not Josh McDaniels, who's like, well, my plays are really good. And, I got to get rid of Derek Carr. So this is the first guy. He's got like a quiet confidence, and it's different than what Las Vegas has had. And I can't remember the last time the Raiders had a coach like this. I'm not saying it's going to work, but I am saying it's definitely a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they need a big personality, honestly. They had Gruden, and how I love John Gruden. Pete Carroll was a big personality, but not the same Pete Carroll. Antonio Pierce, it was all about, I used to be a Raider fan, and I love Raider culture, and I'm that guy. But his teams didn't play well. I'm like, yes, the 8-9 season, but then the year after they were terrible, and maybe they set him up to fail a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think he was going to be a great coach for the long haul. Josh McDaniels, yes, the intellectual play caller, but he didn't mesh with the locker room, and I guess him and Derek Carr got into it a lot. Derek Carr just brought that up on his podcast the other day. With Clint Kubiak, be like Kyle Shanahan. Let your offensive scheme do the talking for you. And we'll see how it looks year one. I remember Kyle going through his growing pains that first year in 2017. But I think there's more talent on this Raiders team, and Clint Kubiak has his quarterback position solidified. So I'm fairly confident. Is it going to mean they're going to win a ton of games this year? No, probably not. But I like the direction they're going in. But of course, we haven't heard from this guy in a long time, and of course he has to show up and make it about himself, but also just talk shit about the Raiders. AJ Cruz, okay, I'm here. What? What the F? The Raiders stuff already? I'm out. What's up, Alon? AJ, you're trying too hard, man. You don't have to lie to kick it. We know that you've been watching this podcast, and now you just want to show up on this Raiders stuff when you know we've been talking Niners too. I'll see you when the season starts, AJ.
Hey, it's going to be an exciting Niners season, AJ Cruz. It really is. No, I mean, if you weren't here last episode, I went on I took the pulpit and I pounded my fist saying Brock Purdy needs to put up MVP. I want them to empower him to run that offense. I want him to chuck the ball around the yard 35 plus times a game. So we will talk Niners, of course. We always do. But AJ, I was at Raiders training camp today, so I kind of want to share what I saw. Sorry.
Yeah. And also, I guess he was on a 3-week vacation. So I'm sure we'll see AJ Cruz back in the chat here. He was in the Philippines, Vietnam, and Japan. That's impressive.
I thought it said Philadelphia for a moment. I went, what a weird combination. Philadelphia, then Vietnam, and Japan.
No, that's not bad. Nice.
Yeah, Philippines, Vietnam, Japan makes a lot more sense.
Real quick, we didn't talk about this last podcast, but it's something that's happened in media. Big story in the media of the NFL. Tony Romo getting a OWI charge, operating a vehicle. I guess what's the whole thing? Operating a vehicle while intoxicated.
While, yeah, they don't have in that state. They don't have DUI or DWI. They have OWI.
It was in Wisconsin, yeah, where he's from.
Yeah.
So everyone, I think, has seen the body cam footage. Initially, when you see his mugshot, you say he looks a little hammered. But then you see the body cam footage, and he's driving back from a golf tournament, and it's loud on the highway, but he kept saying over and over again to the officer, "I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I can't hear you." And then she asks him, "Where are you coming from?" He says, "The golf course." And he's going to go see Grandma and Grandpa. And she asks him if he could do a field sobriety test. And he asks, "Can I call my lawyer?" She says, "No, get out of the car, get out of the car." And I looked it up. I guess that is true. You cannot call your lawyer in that situation. When the officer tells you get out of the car, you have to get out of the car. But you don't have to. I mean, what's weird is they're on a highway, so he can't do a whole field sobriety test the way you usually would do it. So they put cuffs on him, take him in the police car, take him to another, I guess, a garage where he does the field sobriety test. He's kind of slow in his responses. She asks him at one point, "Have you ever taken any head injuries?" And he goes, "Oh, quite a bit." He does like stretches before he does the sobriety test. And in the end, he goes, "Did I pass?" And she goes, "Turn around." And she puts the cuffs on. And he's like, "I guess not." So after that footage comes out, CBS puts out a statement saying, "We're going to put Tony Romo on an absence." And I guess they're still going to pay him. I don't know if they like freeze his contract. He's still got quite a bit of money he's making from CBS. But I guess going into the season, JJ Watt's going to be your number one analyst with Jim Nantz. And I think that's a great spot for JJ. I don't think Tony Romo has been the best broadcaster for a while now. To be completely honest, I don't think he tries very hard. I don't think he prepares very well. It sounds like he shows up and he obviously knows who Mahomes is and Josh Allen, but he just seems kind of lost and he tries to be overly funny. I miss the days when he was just calling a play before it happened, but I guess some producer got to him and said, less X's and O's talk, be more like John Madden. But John Madden was able to do both. I just don't think Tony Romo has good charisma anymore. Now, should he lose his job because of what happened with this? Honestly, no. I don't feel that way. Like watching the video, he might be a little buzzed, but I don't think he's hammered. And it's a bad look. You should never drive drunk. Never drive drunk. So if he was impaired, that's a bad look, and that's bad on him. There's a point where the officer finds shooters in his bag, and he's like, "Well, I didn't drink those, obviously." But I don't know. I remember Marshawn Lynch getting arrested for DUI in Las Vegas before he was going to be part of the Amazon Prime broadcast. And his deal is kind of different where he's going into the field and kind of doing a Kenny Mayne thing. But it's a bad look. The body cam footage of Marshawn Lynch pretty much like sleeping behind the wheel of a car. It's bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. Yet his career still going on television. It's not like every week he's on TV, but he still does the fun stuff. He still works for Amazon Prime. I got to be honest. I don't condone what Tony Romo did, but I don't think that he should be told by CBS, go away for a while. I think he can issue an apology. I don't think he should lose his job over this. Again, it has nothing to do with him being a subpar broadcaster right now. I just don't like the way this looks where you should never drive drunk. But I don't think it's where CBS has to do this to him. I don't know. That's just my take on it.
I'm right there with you because you watch the video, it's weird, and it's weird because you can't really tell one way or the other, and he's being a goof. That's the other thing. So he's being a bit of a goof in the video as well, which probably didn't help. That being said, if you are ever in that situation, do not take a sobriety test. That whole thing is designed so they could put your ass in jail. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So I understand why he wanted to call his lawyer. Not great, but I don't like what CBS is doing either. I don't understand why he can't just issue an apology, do some type of outreach. And I'm not trying to make small stuff out of doing outreach or donation or whatever like that.
Right.
But I do think that would, fit, that would warrant, the situation would warrant that. You brought up Marshawn Lynch. I forgot about that. He's in that Mustang in Las Vegas on a side street with no tires, as Rock had pointed out. I mean, it didn't look good at all. Basically passed out behind the wheel. But Marshawn Lynch, you brought up the word charisma. Marshawn Lynch has a lot of it.
He does.
The officer said, "Is this your car?" And I don't know if you ever saw that video. Marshawn goes, "No, I stole it," which is so funny.
Jesus Christ, the balls on that guy.
Yeah, I know. He just doesn't. It's so funny, and everybody's kind of having a laugh with it. But yeah, Tony Romo made a big mistake, but he should not lose his job over it. And yeah, it's tough for him. He'll be out, and I hope this isn't CBS kind of using it as an excuse to kind of shove him out.
It might be.
If that is what it is, that's a bit underhanded for sure. And they can justify it by saying, "Hey, we just don't employ people who do stuff like that."
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, look what happened with Mark Sanchez.
Well, in my opinion, that's 10 times worse, honestly.
Oh, no. That's 1,000 times worse. Yeah. Right. I shouldn't make an equivalency between the two, but they can say, "Hey, look, we make networks make decisions like that. We make a decision here." So I don't want to see Tony Romo lose his job. I like Tony. I like what he offers. I do miss Tony Romo who's calling plays before they happen, though.
Yeah.
And occasionally he shows shades of that. But you're right. Some producer or executive got in his ear and just said, "We need less of that, Tony." There's fans who I don't like it because you're spoiling the game for me. Be quiet. It doesn't spoil the game. It makes the game more interesting to watch.
Yeah, the fact that he could call a play before it happens, it just shows his intellect. Where he's a great, debatable as far as great quarterback, but he has a quarterback's eye. He sees the formation of a play and knows exactly where it's going. So I thought that was impressive, but he didn't want to build upon that. And yeah, it's sad. It's sad that it's come to this with him. I think it's CBS's way of kind of pushing him out. JJ Watt's a big time name, future Hall of Famer, and he's got a rising TV career. He's really good with Iron Eagle. So it might be where they want JJ Watt to be the star on these broadcasts with Jim Nantz, and Tony Romo is slowly shown the door. Anything else you wanted to add to that, Alon?
I was going to say, kind of half joking here, but I'd watch it. Gruden said he wants to take a crack at play-by-play. So maybe Tony could be his color partner.
Oh man, that would be Jesus. You know what? I think Gruden deserves another shot in television again.
I do too.
Yeah. I think the coaching, another coaching chance with him probably is not going to be there. I thought this last year with how much turnover there was in college football that Gruden would get a chance, did not happen. So I don't think it's happening again. But I do think somebody is going to eventually hire him to be an analyst, maybe a Fox. Then again, Tom Brady's so big, Gruden would probably want the same amount of money because he's a proven commodity on television. But I do miss John Gruden on television. Speaking of John Gruden, my dad loved John Gruden, still does. And I want to talk about my father real quick because I haven't brought it up on the podcast. I haven't brought it up on KMBR because I wanted to give my dad his privacy. But Eric Branch wrote a very moving article that came out yesterday about what my dad has gone through this offseason. And if we ever didn't do a show or like it was, I said we're moving a show or whatever, just to be honest, there was a lot. There was a lot going on with my father working from his bone marrow transplant. And that went well, but there were complications after that. And I thank everybody that reached out yesterday reading the article. But yeah, my dad went through hell this past year. And it's, to be completely honest, there was a couple times where I thought we may lose him. And it was incredibly heavy. But he's still alive, and I'm thankful for that. And as far as him getting back on the mic, people ask me about that all the time. There's a time and place for that. I don't know when, and I don't know really if he will. But I'm not really concerned about that. I'm concerned more about my father living a long life. And, last year he came back for the Seahawks game, And I'll admit, you really didn't see me overjoyed when talking about that on the radio or here because I was against it. I thought it was a bad idea. And I just want my dad to be healthy. And he even says in the article, why did I do that? And I asked him that same question. Why the hell would you go back and do that? He doesn't have anything to prove anymore. He's been Greg Papa for a long time, the broadcaster. I just want him to be Greg Papa, the father, the husband, the man. So I thank everybody that reached out yesterday reading that article. I know you guys are all knowing about it now. I've been going through it for a while now, but I appreciate everybody reaching out. And things are in a good place. I'll always update you guys on my father's health when I can and when I'm allowed to. But things are in a better place today. So thank you for everybody for reaching out. I appreciate that.
That's awesome, Derek. Yeah, the article it's tough to read just because we all know and love Greg. But I mean, just super happy that. I mean, there's some deep stuff in that article. I mean, you know, his quote about doctors told me that 95% of people wouldn't have been able to fight. I mean, that's real stuff. And so he's been able to battle it. And I mean, who knows what the future holds in terms of broadcasting, but the important part is he's still here and he fought it and he's gotten through a hellacious summer and so did you. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure everybody in the chat is going to say, you know, how happy they are about that, but I'll just say it too. I mean, everybody's happy about it, Derek. And he is Greg Papa. He is still Greg Papa, and he is still California Broadcaster of the Year. He's won that. He took it away from Vin Scully before. You have to work extra hard to get it from Vin. Greg has to work 10 sports while Vin Scully works one to get that same damn award. But it's so good that he's doing better. So it's awesome. Couldn't be more happy for you and for him, of course, and the rest of your family.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was hard on me, but it was harder on him. And I would go visit him in the hospital. We watched a lot of the NBA finals together. But it was difficult. It was difficult. But I'm glad he's doing better now. And I'm glad he's still here, and I'm glad that he's seeing that there's more important things in life than broadcasting at the moment. Of course, he would love to. That's, you know, it's a hard thing to walk away from. I'm never going to say that's completely over for him. I read in the article, he's still, you know, and we talked about it. You know, there may be an opportunity for him to come back and do the midday show. There's a time and place for all of that. We shall see. But like I said, I'm just glad my father is still with us. So that's obviously extremely important to me. And that's all I got for tonight, guys. I think we should end on a good note like that. No jackass of the week.
I had a good one, man.
Oh, did you? All right. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, let's do it. Go for it.
Are you sure?
You know what? Like either way, it's not like overly negative. We can have fun with it. By all means, Alon, go for it.
Okay, so in the Mexican Baseball League, there was do you know about this, Derek?
I do not actually.
Okay, so massive brawl broke out here. I will put it up on screen because we do have the video. If I could learn how to operate a personal computer here. But massive brawl broke out during the Mexican League game between the Toros de Tijuana and the Acereros de Monclova. It all started when Toros' Danry Vasquez, who used to be in the Astros farm system, I believe, suddenly punched Acereros Rodolfo Amador. During the melee, Ryan Hernandez suffered a broken arm. So here is the video, and it's so Bush League. It's just stupid. So Danry is my jackass of the week. So he's caught in the run. Henry. Third baseman in the face and starts a whole brawl. Gets clotheslined from behind. Danry Vasquez is my jackass of the week, Derek. I mean, who does this? Who's about to get tagged out here and then goes, I don't want to get tagged, so I'm going to punch him in the face. I mean, what? Yeah. And then kicked him. That's the other part. Then he kicks him. So, yeah, I mean, it was horrible. That is a brawl, Rockin', and we don't get those a lot. I wouldn't mind a brawl if it happened because someone's throwing at you or something like that. But about to get tagged out in a rundown between third and home, and you're pissed at yourself for being put in that situation, and you sucker punch the third baseman in the face. Get out of here, man. Horrible.
That is hilarious. It's a jackass move, obviously, but it's hilarious to be like, oh no, he's got me.
Yeah. And then kick him. So the thing is if the tag wasn't applied and the punch connects before the tag's applied, he should have turned around and started running home and tried to score.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, total jackass move. Okay, I got one. Okay, a lot of people have done some dumb shit or said some dumb shit since Kyle Shanahan's car accident. Brandon Ayuk, when he put out that tweet making fun of Kyle Shanahan, that's Jackass of the Week worthy. But I got another one. WGN in Chicago. So somebody, and again, like this is kind of heartless in a way, but whatever. It's social media stuff. Someone did it like a image of Kyle Shanahan in the hospital where it's clearly Mitch McConnell's photo of him in the hospital, but someone put Kyle Shanahan's face over it. And again, if you see that on social media, whatever, it's just like a quick funny thing. You move off of that. WGN in Chicago put this on their broadcast like it was real. Like they thought this was actually real. And so I cannot believe this. They ran with this like stock photo of Kyle Shanahan in the hospital when it's clearly Mitch McConnell. So whoever was the producer thought that was a good idea. Jackass move, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
About Niners coach Kyle Shanahan. Yesterday, he made his first public comments since a car crash 2 weeks ago that left him in some really bad shape. The team didn't announce.
Did you hear that too? I didn't even hear the video of it. Listen to the woman in the background.
She goes, car crash 2 weeks ago that left him in some really bad shape. The team didn't announce it until last Saturday, 11 days after it happened. And officers on the scene said Shanahan was not at fault.
So she's the only one who caught it.
Okay, well, hold on. Play from the beginning. Are they all laughing like they realize like this is ridiculous for showing this?
I don't know. I think that sounds like a laugh track that was put in there, but I'm not sure.
Story about Niners coach Kyle Shanahan. Yesterday, he made his first public comments since a car crash 2 weeks ago that left him in some really bad shape. The team didn't announce it until.
You can clearly hear the woman on the broadcast saying that's not real. That's bad. That's why the hell you don't look at what you got as far as images when you're doing a story and that's clearly not something that's real.
How did no one recognize that? Number one, Kyle. So when I saw that photo, when you sent that to me, Derek, I hadn't seen that meme until you sent it to me. I went, God, Kyle looks terrible. And then I went, wait a sec, that's not Kyle, that's not Kyle Shanahan. And then I went, that's Mitch McConnell's wife. And then I went, oh God, okay, here we go. That's so bad, dude. That producer, I don't want anybody to get fired, but that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is really bad. And Kyle, look, actually, like, have you seen him, like the clips of him at training camp? He's looking pretty good with the mustache.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look like that. Let's put it that way.
And I think everything that I'm seeing from training camp sounds like Kyle's going to be there week one. He might even coach a preseason game. Like, he's progressing pretty well, and he addressed the team, I think, after practice today. So things are turning in the right direction where he's going to come back and coach. Now, there's other injuries right now. Dejon Stribling's got I think a calf issue or a hamstring. I think that's day-to-day. Mike Evans has a quad strain. There's going to be injuries in Niners camp, and it's always amplified because it's the Niners, the substation, and everything. I'm not freaking out about those guys until they miss regular season games, especially Mike Evans. So I'm not freaking out about that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And unfortunately, the substation thing is kind of a funny, aside. But now, it really does have legs. It has traction, and so
it
now
does.
Every single injury is the substation. Whether it's true or not, this team has battled injuries for a while. But yeah, I'm not concerned until any of those guys miss regular time. My biggest concern with Kyle is, I'm assuming he's progressed because of the progress he's shown. He must be progressing pretty fast. I am curious to see whether he will get right in on the sideline in preseason game 1 or preseason game 2, because I do think he will coach a game in the preseason. I'm just not sure which one or which ones it will be. And then the only other concern I have is, he'll probably be right by the time week 1 rolls around. It's just a gut punch that, coming off of what he's dealing with, you got to go take this horrendous flight to Melbourne and do this back and I want to know how that is going to impact him.
Yeah, I think that may be the biggest obstacle is the flight itself. I think it's 14 hours. The flight, that's gonna be rough, especially when you're coming off a concussion. But maybe it's the space in between, the time distance of when it happened to when they're actually playing the game or when they're traveling might help them. So it's almost a month after the fact, but we'll see here. Real quick, nothing new with pop culture catch up. Ernie, want to ask, you guys see Spider-Man? I'm not really into the new Spider-Mans. I saw the last one with the the multiverse, whatever the fuck. Not into the Spider-Verse I'm talking about. Those are actually really well done with Miles Morales, that Spider-Man. But the Tom Holland ones where, the new, the old iterations of Spider-Man come meet up, like it's Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Not a big Spider-Man guy, the new Spider-Man. I'm not a big Marvel guy, honestly. Too many movies I got to keep track of. So to answer your question, Ernie, no, I have not seen the new Spider-Man.
I haven't seen it either. I think I'll see it. I don't know. I like going to the movies, but I don't know if I'm going to see that in theaters. Yeah. I'm not a big Marvel guy either. Like, I know about it. Don't get me wrong. But once it started getting crazy with so many different movies, I was like, this is like a full-time job keeping up with this stuff. So
exactly.
I kind of fell off. But I guess there's a Avengers movie coming out in December or something.
Doomsday. Like it's huge. Robert Downey Jr. is playing a villain this time. And yeah, I'll see if I actually am interested in that one. I'm kind of mixed on it. But yeah, that's going to be it for tonight, guys. And as far as the rest of the week, Hall of Fame games going down Thursday. Huge tilt between the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. Their third stringers will be out there. It's not a big deal, obviously, but it's the first glimpse of football we have, NFL football this offseason. So I'll soak it in for a little bit of time. But yeah, unless there's big breaking news this week when it comes to, like, I don't know, a contract given out to some of these guys or Aaron Donald returning, I think we're going to wait until Sunday. So we did everything with the MLB trade deadline. Nothing really new with, NFL storylines. Hard Knocks starts up tomorrow with the Seattle Seahawks. So I'll be watching that, even though Hard Knocks is not what it used to be. I think the next episode we'll start our team previews. Every year, me and Steven in the past have always kind of broke down, the off seasons for each team, and what we do it by divisions. So since it's going to be the Seahawks and Hard Knocks, I think next time we do a pod, we'll do a breakdown of the NFC West and AFC West. Obviously, with the Raiders and Niners being the two biggest teams we talk about on this pod. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for tonight. Everybody in the chat, to Rockin' New Era, to Ernie One, to the Skills Report being here briefly. What's up, Skills? A quick appearance from AJ Cruz coming off of his 3-week vacation. I believe that's it. We'll see you guys on Sunday, maybe earlier, but probably Sunday. Alon, say what you always say, my friend.
Hey, to all our listeners and viewers, you guys might think it's healthy behavior to gamble on preseason football, but that's just your opinion, man.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
That's degenerate.